Hi, my name is Sarah and my channel is Knotty Gnome Crafts. Welcome! If you are a new or returning viewer, thanks so much for joining me. Today's video is going to be my top 10 Big 4 TNT patterns for winter sewing. Now I did debate about whether or not it was a little bit too late in the season to be posting winter videos, but where I live here in Western New York, winter is going strong with no sign of decline. We had another snowstorm yesterday and it might still be snowing today. I can't really tell. I haven't been outside today. But where I live, the snow is on the ground through April, and it is not at all uncommon for it to snow in May. So at least for me, I'm going to be doing winter sewing for a couple more months before I switch to spring. So for that reason, I decided that it was okay to put up some patterns that I love for winter sewing, because at least people who live in climates like me would get some benefit out of it. Before we get started, I am wearing my just finished orchid cardigan that I turned into a vest, and it's knit out of Volmeisel lace, and I will insert a picture of the full outfit here so you can see what it looks like. And I will actually just transition into talking about the dress that I'm wearing because it is one of my patterns that I'm going to share with you. Now quickly, when I say a TNT pattern, I have made all of these patterns before. A lot of them I've only made one time, but it's not because I didn't like the pattern. I definitely would make it again. I'm just not a big pattern repeater, although I am trying to get better about that. But yeah, this is not, if I only made it one time, it's not anything against the pattern. I do still really like it. I would absolutely make it again. I just haven't up to this point. So this first one I'm going to share with you, I have made a couple of versions of, and it is Simplicity 8982. So this is a wardrobe pattern, and it is very popular in the sewing community, so you probably have seen lots of people make this. It has many different views, as you can see here, and here are the line drawings. So I have made two versions of this pattern. I have made the dress, but with the statement sleeves and the collar, and then I've also made the shorter skirt. So the dress version is what I am wearing right now. It's made out of a cotton sweater knit, so it has no spandex, it's mechanical stretch only. It's not super stretchy and it doesn't have a lot of recovery. So I did end up sizing up just in this just so that I could make sure I could get it over my head. Which means that it's a little bit baggy, but it's really not too bad. I really like the pattern. It goes together very easily. The instructions are good. I really love the skirt that I made, and I'm going to try to insert photos of all of the garments that I have. Some of them I don't have anymore, but the ones that I do have, I'm going to try to show you. So I made the skirt version out of a quilted knit not too long ago, and I really like the skirt. No complaints about that one. For this pattern, for the dress version, I will say that this really dramatic cuff is like maybe a little bit much for me. I have really short arms, so I find that this cuff kind of takes up a large chunk of my arm, and so maybe the proportions aren't that great for me. So for that reason, I don't know that I would necessarily want to mess with making the balloon sleeve version again for myself personally, but I would certainly make the dress again. I will make the skirt again. It's just that even though I like this style, the proportions just aren't quite right for me, but that doesn't mean it's not right for you. So I do recommend the pattern. Oh, and before I forget, because this entire video is going to be about Big 4 patterns, and Big 4 pattern sizing tends to be relatively consistent, I'm not going to put up the size charts, but I will link to all of the patterns down in the description box so you can go check out the details for yourself, because we all know that sizing on Big 4 is a little bit wonky and it's a little bit personal, so you might have to just decide for yourself whether or not the pattern works for you. Okay, sticking with wardrobe patterns, the next one that I have to share is Butterick 6388. Now this is an older pattern, but as far as I know, it's still in print. This was like a display cover, so it doesn't show you what the full, all the options that you actually get, but you'll see on the line drawings that you get a vest, a top, a dress, actually two different tops, and a pair of pants. And I have actually made the pants, the dress, and the vest. I did not like the dress because the way that they have you insert the pockets, it just looks like the pockets really show and they're like super bulky and poochy on the front of your stomach, and like I'm not a big fan of that. But otherwise, the pocket was the only part of this dress that I didn't really like. Otherwise, if I would have just left out the pockets, I think I would have liked it. And I really like this little fold over collar. I don't know if you can see it well in the model photo, but it's just it's a little bit of a different take on a sweatshirt, which I really like. I've made the vest out of a like fleece, like a boucle fleece type material, and I really like the vest. I don't have it anymore. I think because that type of fabric just gets ratty really quickly, so I think that it just didn't last that long. But it's nothing against the vest. I do think that it is a good pattern. And my favorite pattern out of this collection is actually the pants. So I've made these pants a few times. I've made it out of a Ponte knit, so even though on the cover it looks like it's made out of a sweatshirt fleece and you can't even see the pleats, so it looks like it's more of a casual type of garment. When made out of Ponte, it actually looks to me like a very professional, like totally work appropriate pair of pants because of the pleats. So I really like that feature of it. And before I went on my pants fitting journey and trying to get the perfect pants that fit, I always have had a really hard time getting pants that fit my body shape. And this pattern is actually like pretty decent out of the envelope. I won't say that it's perfect, but like it worked relatively well for me. So I have actually taken this pattern and removed the pleats and like turned it into more of a jogger style pant that has cuffs. Basically, I did that because I had made the True Bias Hudson pants a few times, and that pattern does not work for my body shape. It looks awful on me. So I just kind of modified a pattern that did fit relatively well to look more like a traditional jogger, and I love that pattern. I think I've only used it, no, I've used it twice, but I would absolutely make it again. So yeah, I just think that this wardrobe pattern is a really versatile one, and you would get a lot of use out of it for the winter. You could make an entire like athleisure kind of collection, or with the pants, like you could even make something a little bit dressier. So I really do like this pattern. Again, it is Butterick 6388. So switching gears to layering pieces, my next recommendation is Simplicity 9374. This is a vest pattern, and I have made view B right here. And I made it out of a novelty fleece fabric that I'll be honest with you, I've only worn it one time because the fabric just isn't really my style. It was kind of a leftover piece that I used for a challenge that I participated in. So that's the only reason I don't wear it. It's not that I don't like the style of the vest, it's just not, the fabric's just not really me. But I do really like the different options that this comes with. This version is more of like a cardigan, and then this one's more of like a traditional vest. And then you have like your long line cardigan. I just think that there's a lot of different options in this pattern. And you could make it, you know, all the different views, like several different times, and you could have completely different looks. And I do really like the fit of this particular view that I made, and I would make it again. It's actually kind of similar to what I'm wearing on, but this is knitted and not sewn. But yeah, I do think this pattern is worth making. I think that it's really versatile. You could do it several times, like I said. And here's the line drawings. I forgot to show those to you. But yeah, there's lots of different options, and like some that I hadn't even noticed. Like this tunic-y type version has buttons on the side, and I think it's a slight high-low. And then you can add patch pockets. There's just a lot of different things that you can do with this pattern. So I do recommend that one. It's Simplicity 9374. The other outerwear piece that I have to recommend is Simplicity 9239. If you are a regular viewer of this channel, then you will know how much I love this shirt jacket. So I made it in the fall and out of a denim from Mind the Maker, and it is one of my absolute favorite garments that I've ever made. I want it to be part of my closet for the next 20 years. I just really love the way that it turned out. And if you are new or relatively new to sewing, I wouldn't shy away from this, because I think even though it's a shirt jacket, it's really relatively easy to make. And so yeah, like I'm pretty sure like it has a yoke, but the yoke is not lined. It has facings instead of like plackets, and it does not have a traditional shirt cuff. So it's really like relatively simple to put together. It's kind of a simplified shirt rather than being like a complex normal tailored shirt. So yeah, like I think that it would be a really good beginner shirt jacket pattern. You can make it out of a lot of different fabrics. I think that it's beautiful in denim. I would love to make another in corduroy. I would love to make a plaid version. If I had all the time in the world, I would have made these things by now, but I don't, unfortunately. But yeah, I just think that this is a really good pattern, and you do have some different options in terms of length and sleeves, and yeah, you can add pockets. I really do like this pattern. I can't say enough good things about it. It's Simplicity 9239. Moving on to dresses, we have Simplicity 9013, which is a Cynthia Rowley pattern. This is a beautiful dress that comes in a couple of different length versions, and I have made the long one with the ruffle at the end. And I made it out of a rayon batik, and I love that dress. I think that it's really beautiful, and like it has a lot of drape, and it looks really flowy and elegant on the body. Here are the line drawings. Now, if I'm going to be honest, this is the only pattern on the list that I would say that I probably won't make another version. But it's not because I don't like the pattern and I don't think that it's good. I just, as far as dresses go, there's just so many dress patterns out in the world that it is extremely rare for me to want to remake a dress. And that is nothing against this pattern. It's lovely. It's relatively simple to put together. I love the flowiness of the sleeve. And I will say that this keyhole is quite deep. And so if that bothers you, you might want to close that up a little bit. I think I did close mine a little bit. But it's not a difficult thing to do. There's a center front seam. It's finished with bias tape and has a center back zip. So yeah, I think that it's a beautiful dress. I would recommend it. I'm just not going to make another one because I don't need another dress, and there's a million other dress patterns out there that I want to make. But if you are looking for this type of dress, I think that it's a really wonderful pattern, and it looks great in a drapey fabric. The next dress on my list I do plan to make again, and it's McCalls 7831, and this is a simple jumper or pinafore dress. I made this version here, which is View C, and I made it out of a red bull denim. And the only thing I want to say about this dress, it is quite short. So I'm 4'9", and I don't think I shortened the dress at all, and it's like the perfect length for me. So if you are taller, you might seriously consider lengthening it. The other thing about this particular dress is that it has facings, and it's meant to be a learn to sew pattern, so it's very easy to construct. There's no fastenings other than the buckles. You know, there's no zippers or anything. And for my preference, I think when I make this again, I will fully line it, but that is just a personal preference. It has nothing to do with the pattern. There's nothing wrong with the pattern. It's just, I think it would be nicer to have a fully lined jumper dress that will just kind of slip over whatever you're wearing underneath. But again, that's just a personal change. Like, you could totally make this as is and it would be adequate. And yeah, I really like this pattern. It's super easy and quick to put together. I will say that the directions for installing the buckles aren't great. I think it's actually like, it might just say like, follow directions on the package for installing the buckles. And I think when I did this on my first version, I might have done it wrong, but it works fine. I don't need to adjust the straps, and so yeah, the length is fine for me. But yeah, that is one thing that you might want to consider if you've never done anything with buckles before. Maybe look up a tutorial on YouTube or something, because I don't think the instructions for installing them are that helpful. But otherwise, it's a great dress. McCalls 7831. I think that it's really versatile for winter, obviously for layering purposes. So yeah, I definitely would put this one on my list for winter sewing. Moving on to skirts. I only have one skirt on my list, and it is Simplicity 9267. Now, the version that I made of this is actually out of rayon, so it's very drapey, and although I do wear it in the winter over tights, it's not like the most ideal winter skirt. But the reason I put this on the list is because this pattern is such a blank slate. You could use a variety of fabrics to make it, and you could make it winter friendly. So I'm picturing something out of corduroy. Let me see what the fabric recommendations are. Chambrays, cottons, denim, poplin, rayons, seersucker. So it doesn't list corduroy, but I think if you had like a nice lightweight like needle cord, it would be really appropriate for this skirt. I think chambray or denim would be really nice too. So I think there are definitely ways to make this skirt winterized, and all of the different length options is really versatile. It has pockets, and so yeah, I think that this is a really good skirt. Good basic to have in your wardrobe that really you could wear it year round, but I think that it's good for winter. So moving on to tops, the next pattern that I have is McCalls 6649. Now, unfortunately, this pattern is out of print, but it's just such a good one that I felt like I had to include it on my list. And I do think that it's probably readily available. You can get a copy on eBay or Etsy or even Amazon. So this is a Laura Ashley pattern and for a button-up shirt. And it has cup sizes, which is really nice for everyone. Everyone can benefit from having custom cup sizes. And It's just your basic relaxed fit shirt. Now, I encourage you to ignore the pattern cover because it looks terrible. But if you look at the line drawings, hopefully you can see the potential of all the different options that you have available. It has some nice darts for shaping, and then it has your classic shirt details. You know, you can add pockets, it has cuffs, it has the collar stand. And I made this particular shirt as part of a class that I took in 2018 from Craftsy. I think it's called like Sew a Tailored Shirt or something like that. I will put the class name down in the description box. But the class is really good, and so I did follow the directions as for my shirt with the class rather than using the instructions. So I can't really speak to the quality of the McCalls instructions, but the drafting and the finished result makes a beautiful shirt. I made this out of a tencel chambray denim. And it's my favorite shirt. I made it back in 2018, and it's the shirt that I wear the most. I have no signs of retiring it from my closet anytime soon. I love that shirt. The only thing about it that I don't quite like is that if you can see this, the cuffs are a little bit deep. Like, they're not my favorite as far as like cuff width, but that's easy enough to change. You can just shorten the cuffs a little bit and make the shirt sleeve a little bit longer, and I would do that next time. I'm actually kind of kicking myself that I haven't made this shirt again because I do find that it is the perfect relaxed fit. Like, I know that the oversized trend is really big right now, but for me, because I'm 4'9", I have to be super careful in terms of oversized and not going overboard with it because I can just look completely drowned in fabric. So this shirt, it's not super tight, but it's not overly baggy. It's just like the perfect in-between where it's just a little bit relaxed. It's comfortable, especially in that tencel, like drapey fabric. It tucks really beautifully. I just think this is a really good shirt pattern, and it's another like example of not to judge a pattern by its cover. So if you happen to find this on eBay or whatever, I totally think it's worth picking up. So the next top on my list may be out of print. I keep hearing conflicting things, but it is Simplicity A529, and it's the Sew House 7 toaster sweater, like the Simplicity version of the toaster, which has drop shoulders. And I have the indie version of the toaster sweater, but I might even, I don't know, I really do like the raglan one, but I might like this one better. Unfortunately, I do not have any photos to show you because I've made it at least 3 times, but I don't have any of those in my wardrobe anymore. So there's a couple different versions of this. You have the one with the funnel neck, and then you have like your traditional crew neck, and then you have the option to do like a split hem. So I do have a word of caution on this. If you make this sweatshirt with the funnel neck, make sure that your fabric has the amount of stretch that it says that it needs. Because the first time that I made this, I want to say that I made view B, which is just the shorter version with the funnel neck. And I made it out of a sweatshirt fleece that I had bought from Joann's that had very little stretch. I want to say that it had maybe 10 to 15% stretch. And when I finished it and I went to try it on, my head actually got stuck in the neck, and it was like really stuck. Like, I couldn't get it on or off. Like, I'm like trapped in this thing with my head in the sweatshirt, and I had to go ask my husband to like rip it off of my head, which was super embarrassing. And so yeah, that is my caveat. Make sure that your fabric has enough stretch if you're doing the funnel neck version. Otherwise you might get stuck in it. But other than that snafu, after I figured that out, I made another version of the funnel neck in a stretch velvet, which was really nice. I didn't keep that one because my fabric was actually a little bit too drapey for the funnel neck, and it kept like kind of drooping down. It was a little bit floppy, and I just didn't really like the look of that. And to be honest, I don't really love wearing stretch velvet because it's just a little bit, I don't really like synthetic fabrics, and I just didn't like the fabric. And then my third version was the traditional sweatshirt version. It was this one, and I made it out of a black fabric with white trim. And I loved that sweatshirt. That is like your classic, just traditional, what you think of as a sweatshirt. That's the pattern that I would probably make again if I use this pattern again. The only reason I don't have that black one anymore is because it pilled, so it's nothing to do with the pattern. The fabric just didn't last. But I do think that this pattern is really good, and I highly recommend it. I think that Talisha from Creativity by T might have recently made this, and I will link her channel down in the description box below. But yeah, this pattern is really good. If you can find it, you should snap it up because again, I don't know that they're discontinuing it, but I have heard that. So Simplicity 8529. And the final pattern on my list is Simplicity 9385. So this is a variety of tops, and I think it's a little bit versatile where you can make it out of more of a t-shirt fabric, so it's a little bit more of a regular top, or you could use a little bit heavier knit and make it more like a sweater. So the version that I made was View C, and I made it out of a cotton modal spandex jersey. And I love that top. It's one of my favorites. It's a beautiful red color, and I just really like the turtleneck. For me, that turtleneck is perfect where it's not super tight and choky, but it's not too loose. It's the perfect length. I just think that it's really nice, and I do like the different sleeve options that you get. This one, because of what I said with the first pattern I talked about, A529, I probably wouldn't make this one because for me, I think that the cuffs would be like this one. It'd be a little bit too deep. But all of the other views I think are really nice, and I would totally make that. So I do actually have plans to make more of these. I just haven't gotten around to it, but here's the line drawings. I just really think that this is a nice versatile pattern. You can get many different looks from it. And like I said, you could use either a lightweight knit and make it more of a t-shirt, or you could use a heavier knit and make it more like a sweater. And yeah, I think it's just a really lovely pattern. And I know that it's another one that's been pretty popular. So yeah, Simplicity 9385. So that is my top 10 tried and true patterns for the winter season. That's the Big 4 edition. If you enjoyed this video, I hope that you will subscribe because next week I'm going to be doing another version of this video, my top 10 TNT patterns for winter, but the indie edition. So if that interests you, make sure you hit the subscribe button so that you'll be notified when I upload new videos. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate that you take time out of your day to watch my videos, and I will see you again next time.